Hello.
Welcome, sir. Pramod, sir, welcome.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
आले असते आलते काल का आज आलते वाटतं आत्ता येऊन गेले मॅडम जॉईन झाले रिसोर्स जॉईन झाले वाटतं सर ते प्रोग्राम सर कुठे आहेत तुम्ही आत्ता बरं बरं मॅडम बोलवत होत्या चालतं झाल्यावर कुठल्या वर्गावर चालतं सर सांगतो हो हो सर हो मॅम
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Respected Jyoti ma'am, please start the session. Jyoti ma'am. Ma'am, are you ready? Jyoti ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Please proceed with.
Okay. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, audible, but some vibration. Mobile phone is working there?
Yes.
Yes, now it is clear.
Shall I proceed, ma'am?
Yes, yes, ma'am, please.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Uh, Good afternoon to all. I, Miss Jyoti Masharkar, welcome you all for this ICSSR sponsored 12 days capacity building program on advanced research methodology for young aspirants in social sciences and humanities, organized by Department of English, Rajarshi Shahu Mahavidyalaya Autonomous Latur. For this session, we have Course Director Dr. Anuja Jadhav Madam, Resource Person of this session Dr. Pramod Patil Sir, Course
याच्यावर
Co-Director
चालू करून
Dr.
नोट्स
Sachin
टाकायचं
Bhandare Sir,
याच्यावर चालू करून
Research
नोट्स
Advisory Committee of College, members of organizing committee of this program and participants. On the behalf of Rajarshi Shahu Mahavidyalaya Autonomous Latur and Department of English, I would like to welcome you all for this program and this session. The main objective of this capacity building program is to train the researchers and faculty in social sciences to deal with basic research issues and to learn important tools of social science research, as well as to enhance the capability of doing research among young faculty of social sciences, also to provide information for researchers about all stages of research process from identifying a research problem to the submission of dissertation, report writing and research article. Today is the second day of this 12 days capacity building program. Today's session is on identification of research problem and qualitative quantitative research methods. As we know that research problem is the specific issue or gap that the researchers have to explore or address. In research process, the first and foremost step is the identification of research problem. The beginner researchers finds the task of identifying a research problem difficult one. So, to guide the researchers and participants about how to identify a problem in areas of social sciences where research is needed, what procedure the researchers have to follow, and also which qualitative and quantitative methods have to follow. All these things are here shared in this session by the resource person with us. Now I am going to introduce today's resource person, Dr. Pramod Patil Sir. Dr. Patil Sir is currently working as an assistant professor in the School of Management Sciences, SRTMU, Nanded, Subcenter Latur. Sir have completed BE Mechanical from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad, MBA Marketing from Pune University, PhD in Marketing and PGDDM. These are the qualifications of Sir. His area of specialization is marketing management and disaster management. Sir have the total 20 years of teaching experience. Up to now, Sir has published 10 research articles in UGC journals and 10 in other journals. The citations for Google Scholar is currently 52, H index 4 and I index 2. Currently, 4 students are working under the guidance of Patil Sir for PhD and 2 students have awarded MPhil degree under his guidance. The amount of 3.5 lakhs is sanctioned for the research projects entitled as A Study of Perception About HIV/AIDS. The second project is Awareness About Lightning in Rural Parts of Latur Taluka. The third one is an Earthquake Awareness Program. And the last one is lightning deaths survey of Latur district. Sir have delivered 5 national, 12 state level invited talks as well as 20 guest lectures. He has organized 10 and attended 27 conferences, seminars and workshops. He has worked on various positions such as coordinator for UGC Innovative Program, district level Avishkar Coordinator, University Exam Squad, CAP Coordinator, Course Coordinator, NAC Criteria Coordinator, etc. Patil sir is awarded with various awards and prizes such as first prize at institute level, district level and university level Avishkar 2013 competition. Also best paper award in 5th international conference organized at MGM's Institute of Management Studies and Research, and one day international conference organized by Uran College of Commerce and Arts, Uran, Raigad. Currently, he is working as advisory member for District Disaster Management Office, Collector Office, Latur. This is the brief introduction of today's resource person. With these words, I conclude my introductory speech. Without taking much time, Patil sir, to start the session.
Good afternoon, madam. Thank you, Jyoti ma'am and Anuja madam. I thank to the. मेरा आवाज आ रहा है ना properly? मैडम आवाज आ रहा है ना properly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, I thank to the Shaw College for giving me this opportunity, and the name itself suggests that young researchers. So I am very happy to be a part of this young research August gathering, and somewhere where I'm not here a research person, I'm not a resource person, I'm just sharing my field experiences. I conducted certain research and certain findings of my research. As madam said that I was influenced with this research activity as when I started participating in Avishkar activities. I got a second prize at a state level Avishkar, and then I realized the different avenues of research, because studying from the books and going to the fields, there is a lot of difference. Today's my topic is about the identification of research problem. I'll just share my PPT. Yeah. Okay, sharing is paused. Can you see the PPT?
No, sir.
Is it visible?
No, sir.
Not
No,
yet,
sir.
sir.
Patil,
Not yet.
Patil sir, share the screen.
Yeah, just now I shared the screen.
Yes, first you should share the screen.
Okay. Now is it visible?
Sir.
I hope आपको अभी PPT दिख रहा होगा.
No, sir. Sorry, sir. It's not visible.
percentage first takaza.
Hello. Just now I shared the screen. Is it visible?
No, sir.
Wait. Just a minute. Not visible. Wait.
Sir, please click on the share button.
Yeah, I clicked on the share button, and after that I open the PPT.
Share desktop, sir.
Just a minute. Just a minute. Madam, I tried it again. Hello? Hello?
Sir, the PPT is not visible.
Just a minute. I'll do one thing. I'll send it by email.
Okay.
Jyoti ma'am, is it possible for us to play the PPT?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
Jyoti ma'am, I have sent it on your email ID.
Yes, sir. I will check and share that with you.
Again.
The PPT is not with not saved.
Madam, I have sent recently. Okay,
No, sir.
just a minute. I'll send it again.
Jyoti ma'am, please refresh your mail.
I have refreshed,
Just a minute, madam.
yet not received.
Wait.
Anika ma'am, would you like to say something? Anika ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, your PPT is not visible, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what he is trying. He sent us the mail now. We will share it, ma'am. Just wait for a while, ma'am, please. Bear with
Okay.
us.
By the time the PPT is will be visible, we'll start it. Okay.
Meanwhile, we will start the session, sir.
Okay. I have just now mailed the PPT. The madam will start working. I will start the discussion. As you know, this is the first step of a research. That is the identification of a research problem. Every research starts. There are some disturbances. There is on with some.
Please, all the participants, please mute yourself. There is a disturbance. Please mute. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So, as you know, that every research starts with one problem. We do a research for what purpose? Just to get the more information, detailed information about one particular issue. That problem can be whether we face it daily, during our practice, or when we come across some certain societal issues. And we know that there is some gap, research gap. There is need for more information on that particular aspect. And for that, we start collecting the information. As we know, the research means it is the scientific method, way by which we collect the information according to our objectives. We use scientific tools, methods, and techniques, and we do lots of analysis. There was one famous statement of Albert Einstein. He said that if I had only 1 hour to save the world, I would spend 55 minutes in defining the problem and 5 minutes in finding the solution. So, according to him, if we have 60 minutes, what he said that if I get 60 minutes to save the world, I will spend 55 minutes on defining a problem and 5 minutes finding a solution. That the statement itself shows that the problem definition requires a lot of time and brainstorming and efforts. If your problem is defined properly, then you can get the answer, the solution immediately. As per his statement that because he's a famous scientist, as we know that he has done lots of invention. And on the basis of his experience, he has said that I will spend 55 minutes in just defining a problem, identifying a problem and defining a problem. And once the problem is properly defined, it will take only 5 minutes to solve it. So that is the importance of a proper defining the problem, how we define the problem and how perfectly and precisely we define that statement or a problem. There is another famous statement by Charles Kettering, the general manager of General Motors. He said that a problem properly stated is a half solved. That means what? You have, if you make your beginning proper, if you define the problem more precisely, then you will find that the problem is defined, the research outcomes will be more perfect and more precise. So these two statements, the statements of the famous personalities, this says that the importance is more given, the emphasis or the importance is more for the defining the problem. And once it is properly defined, you will get the solutions immediately. Madam, did you get the PPT?
Yes, sir. I received PPT, but there is a problem of sharing, sir. Anuja, ma'am?
Because I am also finding difficulty with sharing here.
Yes, ma'am. What's the problem actually?
I am not the organizer, ma'am.
Okay, I will make it. Just a minute.
And that is why I could not share it from here, because the rights are given, I think, only to the organizer.
Sir, both of you are organizers.
Sorry, presenter, ma'am, that button is disabled here.
Button is disabled. What happened? They can share. Ma'am, you can share.
Yes, ma'am, the button is disabled here, ma'am. Not active, button is not.
I'm also trying from here to share the PPT, but still I think it is finding difficulty. There are some.
Just a second. Sir, it's a kind request. You continue. Meanwhile, we will do one thing. Jyoti ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Send that mail to RSML department, English department.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, we will manage that. We will
Okay,
organize
okay.
that. Meanwhile, you please continue, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay, so can you see the PPT? I am still trying from here. If it is
Sir,
visible.
we will receive the PPT. Then we
Okay.
will share it, sir. It takes
Okay.
time, so it's a
Okay.
kind request that you continue.
Okay.
Meanwhile, so that the participants will not distract.
Yes, yes.
Please,
yes,
sir.
yes, right.
Please.
So, as I said that this is the first and most important step in a research, that is defining a problem. One day I went to the doctor. My son had a problem, so we went to a doctor and we discussed. The doctor was a quite experienced doctor, and he was having a stomach problem. So the boy, the doctor asked, actually, there is a difference. How a researcher, doctor is a researcher. Many times we forget that what we are talking is a symptom and what a researcher finds is a problem. Okay, it is like an iceberg. As you know that we find an iceberg floating in the sea. समुद्र में अगर कोई आइस अगर आपको फ्लोट करते हुए दिखता है, तो आपको पता चलता है कि that the top portion, the surface of the iceberg on the top of the sea water is very small. It is only we'll say that 1/3, but 2/3 is below that. 2/3 below होता है उसके. We have seen this in case of Titanic movie. Titanic movie में जब वो जहाज समुद्र पे जा रहा था, so that operator felt that iceberg is very small, and he can easily crack that iceberg and they can proceed. But what happened? He failed to understand the size of the iceberg and the ship sink. म्हणजे वो जहाज डूब गया. तो रिसर्चर का भी ऐसे होता है. रिसर्चर शुड फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल अंडरस्टैंड द प्रॉब्लम. What exactly the problem? He should separate the symptom from the problem and what exactly the problem. So one day we went to the doctor and I told that my son is having problem. So my son was sitting in front of the doctor and उसने कहा कि मेरे पेट में दर्द हो रहा है. I'm having stomach problem. So एक
Sir, it's
Yes,
now PPT is visible to all, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Any problem, sir?
Just a minute. Yeah, thank you. So, ma'am, who is operating that?
Mr. Ankush Shenge.
Okay, Ankush sir, I hope you're online. Please go to the next slide.
Yes, sir.
Next slide.
Ankush, next slide.
Yeah, though these are the two famous statements I told about the research problem. So we'll move on to the next. Ankush sir, please. Next slide. So we went to the doctor, and the doctor said that okay, you please be with this slide for some time. थोड़ी देर के लिए स्लाइड पे रहिए. तो डॉक्टर को हमने कहा कि भाई मेरे बेटे ने कहा दिस इज आइसबर्ग प्रिंसिपल, आप पहले स्लाइड पे जाइए, इसके पहले के स्लाइड पे. ओके, तो डॉक्टर ने वही कहा कि प्लीज प्लीज नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, ओनली क्लिक ऑन नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. अभी यही स्लाइड पे रुको. अरे अरे थोड़ा आप आगे जा रहे हो, यू आर क्लिकिंग इट टू टाइम्स आई थिंक. ओके, हाँ बस बस यही स्लाइड पर रुको अभी. तो डॉक्टर ने कहा कि भाई उसको एक ही सिंपल क्वेश्चन पूछा कि बेटे ने जैसे कहा कि आई हैव अ स्टमक प्रॉब्लम. तो डॉक्टर इज अ रिसर्चर एंड द पेरेंट एंड द किड, जो हम लोग साथ में हम थे, तो हम लोग हमारा प्रॉब्लम बता रहे थे. दैट वाज नॉट अ रिसर्च प्रॉब्लम. फ्रॉम दिस वाज बच्चे के पेट में दर्द है, ये प्रॉब्लम, ये हमारे लिए प्रॉब्लम था, ये रिसर्चर के लिए प्रॉब्लम नहीं था. रिसर्चर के लिए वो एक सिम्टम था. ओके, प्रॉब्लम पेट में दर्द हो सकता है. पेट में दर्द किस वजह से हो सकता है? इट कैन बी बिकॉज ऑफ इट कैन बी बिकॉज ऑफ योर व्हाट वी कॉल एज द फूड इन्फेक्शन. It can be because of infection from the water, or it can be because of some other reasons also. कुछ गलत खाना खाया है, कुछ हो सकता है. So the doctor is not interested in symptom. The doctor is interested in what is the root cause. ये किस वजह से हो रहा है. तो जब भी आप डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो, तब आप उनको जो बताते हो, that was a symptom. हम जाके बोलते डॉक्टर की सर मुझे थोड़ा अनईजी फील हो रहा है. What exactly uneasy? Is there any disease called as uneasy in the medical field? No, ऐसा कोई डिसीज नहीं है. So डॉक्टर क्या करता है, उसके रिलेटेड फिर डॉक्टर आपको कुछ टेस्ट बताता है. वो कहता है कि आप आप ब्लड टेस्ट करो, आप यूरिन टेस्ट करो, आप और कुछ एक्सरे करो, आप MRI करो, and then he find out the problem. The problem can be the bacterial infection, and that has resulted into the stomach pain. So he is not interested in symptom. He is interested in the problem. He is separating the symptom from the problem. आपको पहले क्या करना पड़ेगा? आपको पहले प्रॉब्लम आइडेंटिफाई करना पड़ेगा, आपको उसको सेपरेट करना पड़ेगा सिम्टम से, एंड देन यू हैव टू स्टार्ट वर्किंग ऑन दैट. सो द डॉक्टर क्या करेगा, आप जब पेशेंट जाता है तो पेशेंट उसका प्रॉब्लम बताता है, वो एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. डॉक्टर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू वो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. अब डॉक्टर मतलब कौन? हम लोग हैं. हम लोग एक रिसर्चर है, वी आर डॉक्टर. हम लोग एक डॉक्टर का रोल प्ले कर रहे हैं. So what we have to do, we have to go to the deep. What is the reason behind that? उसके पीछे का रीजन क्या है, वेरिएबल्स क्या है, उस पे के वेरिएबल्स क्या है. जैसे मैंने आइसबर्ग प्रिंसिपल बताया, जो ऊपर का दिख रहा है दैट इज नॉट वी आर इंटरेस्टेड. वी आर इंटरेस्टेड इन डाउन बिलो दैट वाटर. पानी के नीचे जो आइसबर्ग है उसमें हमको इंटरेस्ट है.
प्रमोद सर,
yes sir,
sorry to interrupt sir. So can you please stick on with the English? Actually we are from Tamil Nadu.
No problem.
Sorry.
No problem. I thought that participants are only from Maharashtra. Okay, let it be. So the doctor is not interested in a.
Sir,
yes.
I just want to say that, share with you, the participants are from all over India, sir, and
Yes,
maximum participants are from Tamil Nadu, then
Okay.
Karnataka and Andhra.
Okay. So great.
That suggestion given by the participant we will follow. That we will use English.
Sure. So thank you very much. So we are playing a role of a doctor. We are a doctor. Okay. For a researcher is a doctor. We are not interested in symptoms. We are interested in a problem. So whenever the situation will come in front of a researcher, he need to sit down. He need to think. He need to separate the symptoms and a problem, and he has to work on the problem. So we went to the doctor, and the doctor, my kid said to the doctor that I'm having a stomach problem. So I was expecting that the doctor will ask few questions. He will do he will examine, he will follow the procedure. But before going to that, he asked one question to my kid, my son. Do you have this pain before going to school or after coming from the school? So I was shocked that I never thought of this. Means what he said, that because he's a child specialist, he knows that sometimes it might possible that there are situations that the kids don't want to attend the school, so they are finding excuses for that. And if you are giving without examining, without diagnosing some kind of a tablets or some assuming that there is a bacterial infection, food infection, and giving treatment, that may result into some other thing. So he asked one basic question, that do you have this problem before going to school or after returning from the school? So the moment he said that, yeah, I face this problem before going to school. So he just gave the smile and he write down some multivitamin tablets, and he said, now you will be okay with these tablets. So the problem was not with the stomach problem. And then he said that, sir, you go home and sit with your kid and find the problem. There is no problem of stomach pain. So we came back to home and I asked him what happened. He said, no, I am having stomach problem. I said, yes, doctor has given these tablets. Now you take these tablets and you will. Yes. Hello. Yeah. So you'll be okay with that. And he took the medicine, and then later on I asked him, what is the problem? Means, do you like the school? Do you really enjoy in the school? And then he started answering one thing. And at the end of the day, I realized that he had some problem with his friends, school friends. So they were having some kind of arguments in the school, and that's why he didn't want to go to school. And he was finding excuses. So what we have to do, when there is a situation in front of us, we have to go into the depth of that situation. What exactly the problem? We have to develop the mother approach. You need to, a mother, what, please,
Please, participants, again there is a kind request to all of you, mute yourself. Because of you, there is a disturbance.
Thank you.
Please.
Please. The admins can also mute it from their side.
Yeah, we can do that. But just because in the question and answer hour, we require their audio, so that we don't do that. But all the participants, please. Chinmay Bor Pujari, mute yourself. Chinmay.
वैसे तो आपको ना कोई मैसेज कॉपी में है, कोई बच्चा हो सकता है, इसको हाथ भिजवा दो.
Okay, thank you. Yes. So this will be the things that we forgot, because the COVID has gone, and we enjoyed this during the COVID, and this is the gift from that pandemic, I will say. So I realized that how we need to look at the problem from this case. You have to some different approach. You cannot take whatever in front of you as a problem. We have to go into the depth. What are the possible reasons behind that? There is one interesting case study. This came in the Economic Times on some 18th October 2017. This car of General Motors doesn't allow people to eat only vanilla ice cream. Okay, this is the article in the Economic Times, and there was one famous case came into the media that the car of General Motors doesn't like vanilla ice cream. Now see, this case, this situation arrived, and the owner of the car gave complaint to the General Motors that the car you are given don't like vanilla ice cream. So do car or a machine knows the taste of ice cream? This was the question. So the CRM department first ignored it, but again the complaint came, and this the owner said again, no, your car doesn't like vanilla ice cream, and please exchange it. Now what is the role of a researcher? The company appointed a serviceman for this purpose. As a layman, one would say that he will simply reject the claim. No, it is not a living thing, the car and machine. How do they know the taste? Or you accept it and replace it. But here the service, the technician who was appointed for this issue, he appointed a researcher approach. So he went to the owner of the car and he spent some time with the owner of the car. He again asked, sir, do you really sure that your car doesn't like vanilla ice cream? Don't like? He said, yes, my car don't like vanilla ice cream. The thing is that you have to develop some out-of-box thinking. You have to look into the problem from different aspects. So he said, let's go for the trial. And they went to the shop, nearest retail outlet, from where he used to regularly purchase the ice cream. And there he again purchased the vanilla ice cream. And when he came back, his car didn't start. So he said, look at this. I told you that your car doesn't like vanilla ice cream. So he noted down all those parameters. They came back. Next day, again, they started a trial. And they went to the same departmental store and ordered different flavored ice cream. So he said to the owner, okay, you purchase some another flavored ice cream flavor. So he purchased another flavor ice cream. He came back and the car started. So he said, look at this. Yesterday we went to the departmental store to purchase the vanilla ice cream. Our car didn't start. And today with another flavor, it started. So there is a clear-cut understanding from this that the car doesn't like vanilla ice cream. But how a serviceman, that technician, he was playing a role of a researcher. In both cases, he noted down all the parameters that what is the distance between the home and the departmental store, at what time they started, how much time it took to reach to the departmental store, how much time it took for the switch off the engine of the car and restart of the car. That means the owner went into the departmental store, purchased the ice cream, when he came back and again went to the home. The third day he said, okay, we'll do again the same thing. I want to verify. I want to confirm on this. So they went to the same departmental store, and this time the technician, instead of sitting in the car, he went to the departmental store counter. The owner of the car again ordered the vanilla ice cream and he noted down all the parameters. Then he made a report out of that. He said that the problem is not with the vanilla ice cream. The problem is that vanilla ice cream is not commonly purchased by the customer, and it is the marketing practice of every departmental store that the product which is consumed frequently, that is kept near the counter, and the product which is not consumed frequently, it is kept into the godown or away from the shelf. So when the owner was purchasing vanilla ice cream, the salesman has to go back to the godown, purchase the vanilla ice cream and give it to the owner. So that was the time consumed, extra time consumed. When the owner was purchasing another flavored ice cream, this time was not there. And because of this time delay, the engine setting was getting a problem, and there was some problem with the fuel injector. And because of this exact time duration, the car was not starting. So this is the approach of a researcher. A technician, he adopted an approach of a researcher. He was not looking on what he was seeing. Okay. Rather, he is going into the deep, what he is feeling. He studied from out of the box all the angles, and he started collecting the information. What exactly the problem? How should be a researcher? A researcher should be unbiased. He should not have any findings in his mind before starting the research that this will happen, this will not happen. He should be unbiased. He should start. There can be like something, you are having different number of ways in front of you, and you can adopt any one of them. And that way you have to try each and every So the objective behind discussing this case study is that when we are defining a problem, we have to give time for that. We have to see all the possible permutations, combinations, all the possible answers, reasons, and then formulate exact problem. So a trained researcher has properly defined the problem that the car was not starting because of the problem in the fuel injector, and there was an air gap, instead of not defining as the car doesn't like the vanilla ice cream. This approach we need to develop when doing the research, and we need to formulate the problem exactly, what exactly the problem is. There was also one more case study. There a company what it started, it installed one lift, new lift into the building, and it asked the employees, do you think that this lift is better than the earlier one? And the employees said, no. After the survey, the employees claimed that this lift is slower than the earlier lift. The company was shocked. The company said that we spent extra money, and the new lift is better than the earlier lift. Then how the employees are saying that it is not? On paper, it is showing that it was faster, it was upgraded compared to an earlier one. So they said that they went to the company, the company which installed the lift, and they said that the owner of that company, the organization said that your lift is slower than the earlier lift. So the service provider also knows the fact that no, the new lift is better than the earlier lift, but he has not rejected the claim, and neither he has accepted as it is. He adopted a researcher approach. So when he observed that earlier lift was not a closed lift, it was having grills, and when the employees used to go by the lift, they could see from that grill the outside world. That means from every floor they have something kept. The people are coming, going, something is happening. So the people inside the lift were having some kind of entertainment. They were just watching outside. The new lift was faster, but it was closed, and the people could not see outside what is happening, and there was no other entertainment, I'll say that, into the lift. And so they used to feel that no, this lift is slower than the earlier one. Now, the service provider did one tactic. What he did, in that closed lift, he kept a mirror, and then he's told to the employee that we have made modification in this lift, and now this lift is better. We done modification in that. Now this lift is faster than earlier one. The employees used the lift, and since there was a mirror, right, it's a busy life. As you can see, particularly the people who live in Mumbai, Pune, they don't have time even to see into the mirror in the morning. They just wear the clothes and go to the office. And the lift is the place where you can see yourself. And the big mirror was kept inside, and the people could see themselves into the mirror. And by the time they get ready, the lift is to reach to the floor. And the people said, wow, this lift is very fast. It's faster than the earlier one. So this kind of approach we need to develop. A researcher need to develop. There are a number of case studies for that. But my intention telling behind is that we need to come down to the problem, the root of the problem, not onto the symptoms. We should not play only on the symptoms, what we see, rather than like an iceberg principle, go to the bottom. What is below that? What are the factors? What are the variables? And these variables, how they are making the problems, and which variable need to be studied, which are dependent variable, which are independent variable. All those things we have to study. Sir, please, next slide. Next slide. Okay. So as you can see in this slide, we need to go, it's like a funnel, okay, top down bottom approach. Okay, when we develop a topic, when we think of any idea, it is very broader. You can see this on the top, that is the topic. Okay, this is the topic we can see. The top portion is very broad, and slowly, you have to cut down. That is, we're removing the unnecessary part, and we're focusing, we're converting this topic into research problem, into the research questions, and becomes more and more specific. This kind of approach we need to develop. Next, sir. Next slide. Okay, so a research problem in general refers to some difficulty which a researcher experiences in the context of either theoretical or practical situation and wants to obtain a solution for the same. So as I said in the earlier also, like something where we need some more information on that, and that's why we do the research. So the problem will make us to find more information. It is a gap, a research gap. What we have and what we want, okay, what we need to do. It is the first and most important step of a research process, formulating the research problem. Next. Okay, we'll move on to the next slide. So as you can see, the research process, it starts with the problem, okay, then goes to the research objectives, then goes to the research question, then goes to the hypothesis, and for every hypothesis we develop the questions. For every question we get findings, and for every objective we give a conclusion. This kind of approach we need to develop when we are doing a research. Next slide. Now, a research problem. What can be a research problem, and what is the criteria for that? A research problem. How should be a research problem? The first thing and most important, it should be your area of interest. We need to work in area. What is our area of interest? Okay. I personally feel whenever a research student joins me, I ask him, what is your area of interest? Because as a supervisor, I can tell you what is the methodology, but you are the only person who can give the justification to the problem, and you need to find out your domain area. First, it should be your area of interest. Second, you should have expertise in that. I want to do research in aeronautical engineering. Very good. But what? I have knowledge in that? No. Then it's not possible. So your area of interest, that is more important, because if you are interested in one particular area, then you do lots of time for that. You can take the example, suppose somebody is interested in dancing, somebody is interested in, suppose we talk about interested in doing the jogging, cycling, running. So that person spent hours in searching the videos on that, collecting the information on that, material on that, and within such a small period of time, you'll identify he becomes a master. So most important part is that it should be your area of interest. While selecting the research problem, select the area where you have interest. Second, you have the expertise in that. You should have the knowledge, because without knowledge, it's not possible. And that's why we recommend to the student that you publish a research paper on that. And instead of that, I suggest particularly to the student that you present the paper, because when we publish the paper, many times we don't get the feedback. Whereas when you present the paper, if you are interested in, suppose, the consumer buying behavior of one particular product, then do the literature review, present paper on that. When you present the paper, then that time in a good conference, particularly in a good conference, then the examiners will rectify the possible mistakes. You present the paper, and after the presenting the paper, you say that I want to do research in this field, I want to do PhD in this field. The panel will immediately tell you that is it possible or not, and that is free of cost. Okay. When I was doing my PhD, I presented the paper, because if I approach the person who is good in data analysis, he will charge for me, or he may not give me that much time. But when the same person is in the conference, he will give free of cost advice. So that is the thing, that you present the paper, your idea, and get note down this personally I experienced. I participated in that Avishkar competition at institute level, at district level, at state level. Okay, so at every level, I kept one book and asked to the visitors, what do you think? How is this research? And what improvements do you expect in this research? And I got a free advice. Means if I have to do the same thing, I have to spend a lot of time for that. But within few minutes, I get a good answers on that, and I made those improvements. So research is a continuous process, and research never ends. Research never ends. Every research gives birth to the new research. Many times the people say that I did a research and it is over. No. Your findings is giving birth to the next research. So everywhere, whenever you present a paper or you do a research article, publish a paper, those findings are giving start to the next research. It is a continuous process, and you need to take more and more opinions from that. So it should be your area of interest. You should have expertise related to that. It should be innovative. You should add something to the domain knowledge. Okay. There is one common practice followed many times followed in the research, particularly in PhD, that the person has done study on Bank of India. Somebody will take the same and he will do the study on State Bank of India. You may get a degree, but you may not get a knowledge, and that is the problem. In foreign, a BA person also get a job, whereas in India, a PhD student don't get a job. The reason is that the person is getting the degree, not the knowledge. And for that, you need to think something innovative, and something you are adding to the domain, knowledge domain, not repetitive task. You need to think whether it is feasible from all the resources. What resources you need for the research? You need time. You are planning for a research, but it is a time-bound process. Again, I am telling you, it is not something you are doing you have taken a topic and you are doing research for 10 years and 15 years, particularly in social science, because the moment you extend, the variables get changed. What is consumer taste today is not necessarily that it will remain for another 5 years. In 5 years, there will be demographic changes, the taste in the consumer preferences also. So you are presenting something. I attended one PhD viva of one student. His PhD topic was on VAT, and GST was implemented. So these things happen if you take too much of time. That means he was giving a viva on VAT, which was abolished, and the GST started. And what is the use of that research then? So it should be feasible. It should be time bound. You need to think: is it achievable? Is it possible? Whether I get a data related to that research problem. What I'm thinking is, I'm planning to do a research on some foreign country, some foreign issues, and it's not possible for me to be physically there. Then how it's possible? You need to think about time. You need to think about data availability. Yes, research needs money. Don't think that it will be I'll spend it and all those things. You have to think on those aspects: the time, data availability, the money, the other resources like administrative support and research support. So sit for the time. As I'm perfectly agree with the honorable, I'll say that the great scientist Einstein. Give more time on this aspect. Sit. Whether is it possible? What I'm planning, what I'm thinking is it factual in reality? Do not think of something which is not possible. It should be relevant. It should be relevant to the recent situations. What is happening around us? We should talk about that. We should consider those aspects, and it should be helpful to some stakeholders. In fact, when a good Avishkar competition, I learned this thing from this Avishkar competition, that there are 3 things we need to consider while research is innovativeness. Second, there is a research, and third, there is an application. Whatever you are doing, the different stakeholders in the society, maybe it can be the community, it can be the people, it can be the government, it is the the organizations, companies, okay, it is environment, the animal around us. It is helping to the society. The application point of, as we know, the types of research, some are conceptual, some are applicable. But I feel that application research are more important, and we need to work on that. And the ethics we need to follow. As I said, before starting the research, do not keep something in mind that this is going to happen. Don't do bias research. Nowadays, the media is doing what kind of research? It's the paid media, we say it's the paid media. The reason is that they are presenting some kind of a statistical information, some voters poll and something like, not all media, I'm saying, but few media, many of the media, they are paid. They are presenting some false findings that this party is going to win, that party is going to win. So this is not a proper research. You need to follow the ethics. You should be neutral before starting the research. You have to understand the different variables. You need to consider the different stakeholders. And our research should not do give some findings which are not relevant. Whatever it is, a researcher, when presenting the findings, when giving the findings, he should not be a biased one. He should not present what normally the paid research. When you do research for certain organization, the best example is many of you must have seen the movie Ram Setu. Okay, in that movie, the sponsorer give money to the hero, and he says that I want these findings. You do on this. That is not the ethical research. This is not a researcher. So you need to follow when defining a research problem. You need to work on all these aspects, give more time. And if I did a research on one particular organization in our Latur region, and the findings were very contradictory. I could not present. These problems will happen because there can be political issues, there can be some other issues also. It may lead to So take a topic where you can give confidently the findings. Okay. The next slide. So whenever you formulate a research, you need to ask question to yourself that is the problem defined clearly? If the next slide, sir. Yes, please be with this slide. Whether the problem is defined clearly. If yes, proceed, and if not, then again restate. Will the solution contribute to the knowledge? That whatever I'm doing, is it contributing to the domain knowledge, or it is something like repetitive work? If yes, then proceed. Is the problem researchable? That is feasible. If yes, proceed. If not, you rethink. Then is it ethically appropriate? If yes, proceed. If no, then rethink. Is it the qualitative or quantitative? If it is qualitative, you have to go for qualitative research. If it's quantitative, you have to do the quantitative research. And how the variables and population being identified. Okay. So this is how we need to work out on the research problem. Next. The sources of a research problem. From where do we get the information? This is very again I say that you spend a lot of time on this. I did one research and I got source as a newspapers. You get the symptoms, you get the information, the word speak. We have to listen carefully. It is something like a researcher should be alert. He should sachet mind. He should be alert. When he is sitting, you get lots of information, opportunities from outside. You have to be you need to be alert towards it. You get the problems from your personal experiences. Like we know the famous Eureka. So he was sitting in the bathtub and the water came outside, and that gives him the idea of research. So the famous Eureka, you can see. It can be from the practical experience that you are using the product, you are using some kind of a machinery, and then that time you came across. Uh, the example was of about a Walkman. Okay, I forgot the name of that person. But he was employee of the company, Sony. Okay, he was an employee and he was one of the decision maker, and he was fond of music, and he used to carry the heavy music system along with him because all the day he used to like the listen the music. In our childhood days, there were no Walkman or some kind of a mobile phone, so the people used to carry the radio to listen the Sibaka, Binaka programs. And similarly, this person was also carrying the music, the tape recorder always along with him. And then he realized that why should we carry so heavy thing along with me? I need some device which I can keep in my pocket and I can carry anywhere. And that made influence him, gave him an idea that make some music system which we can carry. So all these things, many times we get the idea from the customer, many times within from the employee, from the surrounding, from the society. You need to be just alert toward that. Social issues, as I said, we read newspapers. So those newspapers will tell you social issues. But remember, these are the symptoms. These are not a problem. You need to differentiate with it. You need to segregate the symptom and the problem. When I was doing the research on lightning, then I came to know from the newspaper that this area is experiencing lightning frequently. The lightning deaths increased in this region over the period of time. So this I came to know from the newspaper. I was reading the newspaper and I saw that this news continuously, and that influenced me to do the research. So I got this instinct from the newspaper. So you get from the social media, from the TV, from the WhatsApp, from the surrounding. Also we get from the critical literature review. When we do the literature review, then we found out that certain aspect is not addressed properly. It is not addressed. So there is a requirement of a time. We need to give more attention towards this. As earlier also I said, research is a continuous process. It doesn't stop. One research gives birth to the next research. So the previous research also gives you the new ideas, and you can extend those research. We can extend those research, and we get sometimes ideas from our peers, from our friends, from the one good thing is that the research gate community. Many of you must be a part of it, but those who are not part of it, please go. Be a part of ResearchGate, where you'll get the researchers, social platform for the researchers, and such communities. You can ask the question. I had some problem in my research work, so I raised one question, and I found that the people respond happily, and with their that means the person from across the world, different corners of the world. They're talking to you, they are giving some inputs freely, and you are working on that. So I got some inputs from that ResearchGate also. So these are the social research scholars also you get. Also sometimes you get it from the expert when we talk to the expert. Sir, next slide. When you are doing your aspect is about study of population, then that time we study the people, individuals, organization. Our research problem, when it is subject area and it is problem, then we are addressing the issues. When it is program, then one particular structure we are doing on that. Suppose some CRM department, some other department, a process, then cause and effect relationship. Next slide. Next slide, sir. Okay, so this is the research process, the continuous. As you can see, it starts from the problem discovery. I told you that we need to separate the problem from the symptom. We need to remove the unnecessary part, okay, and come down to the problem. That is what the problem discovery. But you cannot stop there. You have to do the lot of work on that. We need to do some exploratory research techniques, like you collect the secondary data on that from the newspaper, from the journals, from the website, from the thesis. Go to these sources of knowledge, collect the information, do the data analysis, and refine your problem, refine your objectives. Or we can do the experience survey, meet to the people who are in that field, those who are expertise in that field, somebody who's working there from 40 years, 50 years. That will reduce your time, because those people knows that what is it possible, is it really feasible, is it achievable. Though experience survey is a very good method of exploratory research technique. A pilot study, I conducted a pilot study when I was defining my problem, because what I know, sometimes we go with the theory, but the reality factors can be different. The variables might be behaving differently in the field. So to understand the field variables and their characteristics, we can conduct a pilot survey. That is, pilot survey is something we do it on the small area, with a small sample size, and whatever the rough ideas in our mind, we go to the field. You can take the exam and do the survey. So those findings will help you. It will help you in defining the problem more precisely. Or we can do the case study also. So these are the different ways by which the thoughts can become more clear, more and more clear. The experience survey, yes, you can take that. If somebody is doing the PhD, then you can take the opinion of the research guide and research supervisors. So they know that whether this is achievable or not. And once after that, we can define the problem. And after defining the problem, we go to the problem objectives. And if there is something wrong, if it is not properly defined, we have to go back again to the problem discovery and follow this process. So it is a cyclic process. We need to go again and again and again, still the problem is not properly defined. Next slide. So this was one the case I was talking about. That is the this is updated slide. Let it be. The lightning survey I did in our region. So I found that from the newspaper I got this motivation. We need to study about the lightning. So I collected the secondary data. I first interacted with some of the people, experienced people. I asked them from them, and then I collected the secondary data. Then I found that the lightning deaths were increasing. It was the time something 2012, and the lightning deaths were increasing over the period of time. So next slide. Okay. So it is something I adopted a two coin side approach. A coin has two sides. So the lightning deaths were more. It can be because the lightning cases has increased, the natural phenomena. Okay, that it can be because of weather change. It can be because of global warming. And another aspect, the people vulnerability has increased. So there are two sides. Okay, I said that I will work on the people vulnerability, and we started working on that. We collected the secondary data. Then for Latur district, whatever the lightning deaths has occurred, we collected that data. We classified it, segregated it, taluka wise, which taluka has more deaths, which taluka has less death. Then age wise, gender wise, time duration wise. Okay. So with this analysis, the taluka analysis, I realized that yes, Latur taluka has maximum number of deaths. But what is the reason? That made me again think, what can be the factor? What are the reasons behind that? The next slide. Then the gender wise. So it was found that the male, 70% of the deaths were male and 30% were female. And this was the statistics at the international level. Also, the age-wise, the maximum deaths were in the age group of 20 to 49. And the next slide. month wise, so it was found that the deaths were more in the April to June and September, October months. So that made me to refine again. The thing is that number of deaths are more in Latur Taluka, death proportion is more in male, the deaths are more in Latur Taluka, and age group is 20 to 49, and deaths are more in pre-monsoon season. So that made me define my problem. A study of rural people, a study of lightning vulnerability of rural people in Latur Taluka. Okay, so I was becoming more and more precise with the secondary data analysis. When you are doing a research, you have to do these things. Don't do on the basis of your assumptions. That will you give rise to some wrong conclusions also. Take time. It's okay. The people I found that most of the time in the research, what they do, research students, they are very eager to submit the synopsis, finalize the topic, submit the synopsis, and the moment they submit the synopsis, after they realize that, oh, it's not possible, I'm not getting data related to that, I'm not able to define the variables, I'm not able to get the information related to that, and then again they approach to the RRC, the committee to change the topic. Don't do that. Take a time. This is particular, I'm talking, assuming that students are doing the PhD or any kind of a researcher. Take a time, define, collect the data, secondary data, then do the meet to the people who are in the field, who are having experience. If possible, do the pilot study. Pilot study will give you more things because as I said, I'm getting the information from the secondary sources, the secondary data from the newspaper, from the government data, from the journals, and experienced people are telling me about what is the trend and all those things. But what is the recent situation? That we will come to know only after the pilot survey. I recommend every student who approach me that you go first to the pilot survey, get the findings, and then you will find that there is a difference in what you think, and what you are thinking now. Okay. The next slide. Next, another thing which I found in my case, that is about this survey, that certain brands are available in rural part, also urban parts. Like we talk about the toothpaste, the Colgate toothpaste is in urban area also, in rural area also. The soap or the Lux soap or the FMCG products, they are in urban part also and rural part also. Then how do a rural consumer perceive it, and how do a urban consumer perceive it? Because the product is same. The marketing methods might be different, but the brand is same. But how do a rural consumer perceive it, and how do a urban consumer perceive it? So that was the the problem. The idea, I thought that why not to work on that? The next. So the steps we need to follow while defining the problem. When we define a problem, we need to follow certain steps. First step is what? First of all, identify what area you want to do. What exactly? Which is your research area? Is it one particular aspect, the subject area of your area of interest? So rural and urban consumer study, that was my subject area. That was the subject area. Then you dissect it, that is classify into the subtopics. What can be the possible subtopics in that area? So if you're that is the different, you take the subject topic and you divide the subject topic into different possible areas. Okay, like a study can be on consumer profile, rural consumer profile, urban profile. A study can be on rural consumer buying and urban consumer buying behavior. A study can be on rural consumer perception and urban consumer perception. It can be on loyalty of the rural consumer and urban consumer. It can be on different product categories. The same approach for the different product categories. And out of these all possible subtopics, okay, when you divide it into subtopics, you select the one which you feel more appropriate. Okay. Again, you have to apply all those things every step. Okay, is it your area of interest? Is it your, do you have the expertise in that? Is it feasible? Whether the data is available? whether it is innovative, whether it is adding subject domain knowledge. Every time you have to think. These factors you have to, every time you have to think. And then out of that you have to select one particular aspect. Okay. That is a comparative study of perception about selected FMCG brand among rural and urban consumer with special reference to this region. Okay, so and so region. Now earlier it was just a rural and urban consumer. Now it has come down. You have to become somewhat specific. Do not stay with the vague statement or too narrow statement or too broad statement. And something which is adding to the your subject knowledge and your area of interest. The moment you develop the research problem, when you define the research problem, you have to develop the research questions. Okay, you had decided your topic. I want to do a comparative study of perception about selected FMCG brands. Then, what can be the possible areas? Do the rural and urban consumer buy the same product, or they are different? Do they pursue the same manner, in the same manner? Whether the buying process is same for rural and urban consumer, whether the brand awareness is same, whether the brand feeling is same for these two consumers, whether the brand loyalty is same for these two in these two consumers, rural and urban consumers, and from that you develop the objectives. You develop the research questions. Again, when we are making the objectives, there can be some primary objectives, there are some secondary objectives, but the objectives together should exhaust the topic. You should not left out something. We should not left out. Okay. When we define the problem, the objectives together will exhaust the problem, and that we need to keep in mind. You are doing research on palm. Okay. Then you have to do research on all 5 fingers. Nobody will ask you question. Okay. But you can do the research on thumb also. Okay. So that time you have to do complete research on thumb. If you are saying that, sir, I wanted to do research on palm, but it is becoming too lengthy, so I have studied only 4 fingers. That will not work. You have to justify. We have to. So we develop the research objectives from the research questions, like to study the brand awareness among rural and urban consumer, to study the brand preference among rural and urban consumer, to study the brand feeling among rural and urban consumer, and to study the brand loyalty among rural and urban consumer. And again that we transfer into. Okay. Now this you have made. But as I said, this is a cyclic process, and every step you have to think on these aspects. Whether it is my area of interest, whether I have the expertise. Sometimes you might be having expertise, but your supervisor is not comfortable with that. So you have to rethink. Okay. If you have to take permission from that, and many times if the supervisor is not comfortable, then you have to do it at your own level. So think on this, whether it is feasible, I have enough time, I have money, I have data related to that, whether it is innovative, whether it is relevant, whether it is applicable, all those things. And if it is, then proceed, or not, again go back and do this cyclic process again and again and again. By the time you get a structured research topic, objective, question, and a structured research topic, research problem, objective, and questions. Okay, you have to do this process again and again and again. The next. So these are some examples of a research problem and other things. I think the time is very less. So we need to, the only objective is what? It should not be too narrow. It should not be too vague. It should not be totally unfocused. It should not be too simple. Something it should be interesting, like a narrow matlab, what is the protein energy malnutrition in school children in Delhi? Okay, less narrow, how does the education level of parents impact protein energy malnutrition in South children? Okay, so when you are defining the problem, you need to be very particular. It should not be too vague. It should not be too narrow. It should not be too simple. It should not be unfocused. Next slide. So with this, I will, because short of time, this is a very lengthy topic. It takes more time. But again, I will say that more and more time you will spend on the research problem, but then your research become more simpler. And nowadays, the UGC has made this very beautifully about particular PhD students, the coursework, like this, such kind of workshops. When we were doing research, we were not having this kind of facility. We had to depend on completely on the books. That time, also the internet facilities were not that much available. Also, we had to sit in the library. But nowadays, the things has become very simple. Uh, with this, I will stop and let's have some question answer if you have.
Jyoti ma'am. Jyoti ma'am. Please. Yeah, question answer round, please.
Yes.
Jyoti ma'am.
Now we move towards question answer session. I request all the participants to ask question if they have any. Before asking question, you can raise your hand so that you can ask, means give the chance. Participants are requested to ask the question. Professor Professor Ashwin Kumar, Mahima Rana, ma'am, please ask your question. Ashwin Kumar, sir, please.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Sir, myself Ashwin, I am doing my research on history topic. My question is related to what if I selected a problem and then I'm working on it and my area was a sanitation system. And after a few months, I came to know that in the same topic, the other person is doing in other university. So like after, for every researcher, we have to do something unique. When I came to know that the same regional location and the same heading topic, maybe the title is different, the conception is so similar. So as you were saying that before deciding, we have to do all the works and then only we have to decide. But this is how it happened. How can I change my topic or how can I make my topic more interesting on all these factors? How I can change later? Can you suggest me something?
Thank you, sir. There are no different angles. One thing is that you are done. If your research is an early stage, then we can change the research area. Matlab, the topic will remain same. We can change the jurisdiction. And if you are done lot of research, if it is related to some like PhD, you have spent a lot of time on this aspect. Then if you change the topic, what the method, what we see in our case that from the date of topic, your duration will get extended for another 3-4 years. So don't do that. I'll suggest that. Your committee has accepted the topic, so it's not the problem. From the submission point of view, I'll say that. But as a researcher, I personally feel that in social science, the topics are becoming repetitive. Okay, the demographic keeps on changing. profile of the consumer changes, or the people demographic keeps on changing, their taste change, their habit change, because of environmental factors, things change, keeps on changing. So the person can see the same thing from different angle. The topic can be the same, but the perception or your findings will be different, because your analysis, your area, your approach is different. My approach is different. The same, if you take suppose one picture, the, the different people will analyze, interpret it in different manner. So it will not make that much difference. I feel that, because the findings will be different, the area will be different. Again, I said that it depends on what stage of research you are. If you are in early stage, you can make corrections. But if you have proceeded already, then I feel that you can proceed, because the interpretations are different for the different person.
Participants are again requested. If they have any question, please ask.
मला क्वेश्चन विचारायचं. हॅलो.
Yes, sir.
हा सर, आरआरसी आवाज येऊ सर?
हा, येतोय, बोला ना.
हा सर, आरआरसी मध्ये सॅम्पलिंग साठी सॅम्पलिंग करायचं, आणि दुसरा क्वेश्चन आहे हायपोथेसिस ठेवली पाहिजे कधी?
सर, पहिला प्रश्न. Okay, I think your question is that what should be the sample size first, and second is whether there should be a hypothesis.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it depends on type of a research. I have seen some research the people have done only on one person. One of my friend did a PhD on Ratan Tata. So the sample size, like it is a case study approach. If you are qualitative and quantitative, if you are doing descriptive research, then that time the sample size is very important. But in case of quantitative research and descriptive research, you should have good sample size, large. Okay. It said that depends on the sometimes a standard thumb rule. What we say is that 10% of the population. If you have 1,000 people, then we should study the 100% out of that. And if it is too large, then there is a formula for calculating the sample size on the basis of the proportion of the n is equal to pq divided by sigma. That is the formula. And from that formula, how many people agree, how many people don't agree, we calculate the sample size. And hypothesis, as I said, hypothesis, if you are doing a type of descriptive research, if you are doing quantitative research, then that time hypotheses are necessary. And hypothesis should be quantifiable. Many times we see in the thesis that people write down just a statement, but a hypothesis should have variables. Your hypothesis should define the variables. That suppose null hypothesis that there is no relation between variables, alternate that there is a relation between the variables. So it should be precisely defined. And if you are doing qualitative research, the qualitative research doesn't have the hypothesis. The hypotheses are generated after the qualitative research.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any more questions from the participants? Please ask.
If there are no questions, ma'am, you can conclude the session.
I think there are no more questions. So we will reach towards out of time. First of all, I would like to thank the resource person, Dr. Pramod Patil sir, for sharing valuable knowledge regarding the topic identification of a research problem and quantitative, qualitative methods of research. During the What is meant by research problem? Criteria for research problem. How to identify, how to identify the research problem and how to find out the feasible solution for the finalized research problem. He has given real life examples while explaining the things. He also mentioned whatever the resources we do, whatever the resources are available, make the use of those resources in order to find out the feasible solution for the research problem, and that research should be beneficial for the society. The knowledge shared in this session by the resource person will enable the researchers to potentially undertake the research in the disciplines of social science. Once again, I thank Patil sir for guiding us in this session. Also, I would like to thank course director Dr. Anuja Jadhav ma'am, course co-director Dr. Sachin Bhandare sir, research advisory committee of college, and members of organizing committee of this program for conducting such a knowledgeable program. Now, I would like to thank all the participants for attending this session. And one instruction is that today's assignment and feedback link will be shared in the program's WhatsApp group. So all the participants, please go today tonight. With these words, I stop here. With the permission, I would declare today's session over.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Patil sir.
Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, all the participants.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, Patil sir, Honorable Patil sir. Thanks once again.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
मॅडम
Yes.
असाइनमेंट सर्वात सांगा थोडं.
हा सर.
Ma'am, seeing the link.
Assignment.
Yes.
Sir, actually the schedule was shared with you, sir, on the group.
WhatsApp group.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Saraswati.
Thank you, ma'am.
Saraswati Pawar. Saraswati Pawar. You raise your hand. Okay. Okay. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. हॅलो.
हा, सरस्वती पवार.
हा, नमस्ते मॅडम. कालचा असाइनमेंट माझा सबमिट झाला नाही. आपण कालचा लेक्चर झाला ना, काल जो असाइनमेंट पाठवला होता ना तो माझा सबमिटच झाला नाही. फीडबॅक लिंक झाली.
मॅम काल असाइनमेंट नव्हतीच.
मग ते क्विज नंबर 4 जे होतं ते काय होतं?
फीडबॅक होता, तो फीडबॅक होता फक्त मॅम.
फीडबॅक पाठवला होता, मग परत एक क्विज एक आलेलं, मग मला वाटलं ते नाही झालं सबमिट.
नाही काल नव्हतं. काल इनॉग्रेटर स्पीच होतं, त्याच्यामुळे आपण काल दिलं नव्हतं मॅम असाइनमेंट.
थँक्यू मॅडम.
Okay, ma'am. One more is there. Yes, please. Who raised the hand, please? Would you like to...
Feedback? Yes, ma'am. Today feedback form and quiz we are going to get?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, of course.
Okay. Because just I checked, but there is no anything.
No. After the session, we will share it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
And before 9 o'clock, you have to submit. After that, the lines will be closed.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So shall we stop now?